Good evening. We are almost at the moment of Tisha B'Av where we commemorate the destruction of the temple. Not just the first temple, but the first and the second temple. And we Jews believe that on Tisha B'Av they will announce the rebuilding of the temple, and there will be a third Beis HaMikdash, a third holy temple that will come in its place. The question that you might ask is, what's the difference between the first that was destroyed and the second that was destroyed? How will the third be different that it will never be destroyed? In the first temple, people knew that God would communicate with people if they were holy. And those whom God communicated with were prophets. And in the holy temple, when people came from far and wide and prepared themselves properly and brought the sacrifices and did the service, surrounded by the priests, the holy men, and the Levites, and the enthusiasm of all the people, this raised the spiritual sights of each individual, and each individual approached prophecy. In fact, many of them became prophets in the Holy Temple. So the Holy Temple was a place where you could communicate with God. What happened was that people became more involved in their own survival. They began to fight with each other. They began to connect with Gentile kingdoms and pay tribute to the Gentile gods. When all you care about is your physical survival, and to you God, the Creator, is just another symbol, just like Baal, Asherah, Zvuv, Kmosh, all of those ancient names, Zeus, Jupiter, and later names, when God no longer is unique, when you come to the Holy Temple, and God doesn't want to visit His Holy Spirit upon you. And so the temple lost its function, and therefore ultimately was destroyed because it wasn't doing what it was setting out to do, why it was made. In the second temple, people were coming not for holy communion with God because they couldn't reach that level, but by being in harmony with each other, they were able to understand things about life in a more profound way than their predecessors. When they came to the Holy Temple, they were enthusiastic over the spirit and the enthusiasm of the populace. They felt good with each other. They were in harmony with each other. And this allowed them the insight necessary to be able to see what life was all about. Not just philosophy, but what the soul was about, what the connection between the soul was with God through the Torah and through the Kabbalah. And so even though they didn't become prophets, but they became those who understood what the world was all about, what the ultimate meaning of the world was. And this was metaphysics, the understanding of the spiritual within the physical. But the basis for it was this incredible love that people had for each other. And the main sin of the Second Temple was the lack of feeling for each other, love. They began to hate each other, fight with each other, discord. When you came, you weren't happy seeing someone else. You were afraid that other person might beat you up or do worse. So people shunned each other. There was no sense of unity. And if there was no sense of unity, there was no enthusiasm to pursue the lessons that the temple was supposed to bring you. And so once that happened, the temple no longer functioned for the Jewish people the way it should, and ultimately was destroyed. So why is the third temple different? Because we are taught that the soul that we have is pure, that it comes from the highest level of wisdom, and even higher than that. And that level of wisdom is greater than any philosophy, and that level of wisdom is the insight of godliness that sees and understands everything in the world, which is prophecy, where you can understand godliness. And through understanding godliness, you understand what's going to happen in the world. Well, that you have with your soul automatically. So the purpose is not to become wise and insightful, or to have Ruach HaKodesh, prophecy. That you already have by yourself. The purpose of coming to the temple is to transform this world into a better world by doing acts of kindness and love. And that anybody can do. And that we can get the whole world to do that. And since everybody wants to have a kinder, gentler, more loving world, it will be the place where people will feel good with each other. People will be able to relate with each other, to be able to help each other. And once the world senses that there's unity among mankind, the world will be transformed, and the mundane will become holy. And the more we engage in kindness and charity and acts of love and caring, the more we transform this world. And this is something that anyone can do. And this is something that is easily attainable. You don't have to love everybody. You just have to do one act of kindness. You're not interested in looking higher. You're looking to change yourself and change your immediate environment and ultimately change the world. And you change it with love and with kindness. And since everybody can change their part of the world, there's not going to be anything that will destroy the basic purpose for which the temple was made. And as we continue, the whole world continues to do acts of love and kindness, there will be greater and greater manifestation of the soul that knows God, understands God, and is one with God. And that will be the ultimate revelation of God in the third temple. The reason for the temple lasting forever is because we won't have to have as high or lofty a goal. It's easy. We just need to make this world a better world. A world with God. A world with compassion. And by the way, God and compassion and love are one.